What's up, everyone? Welcome to Cars and Cones. As the name suggests, this channel is all about cars, learning, and real world autocross. No big budget builds, definitely no pro drivers. Just getting out there, pushing your car and yourself, and trying to get faster every run. Right now, I'm running a 2011 Hyundai Sonata. Not exactly what anyone would probably pick as an autocross car, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. This is more about making the most out of what you've already got. On top of autocross, I also help run a local car club, enjoy the occasional cruise day, show, or off road adventure, and just generally live and breathe anything automotive. So, no matter if you're here to enjoy some scenic cruises and nice cars, witness my beginner journey into autocross, or maybe you just enjoy cars, trucks, and learning about them, you're in the right place. This is Cars and Cones. Let's get into it, this time with a brief look back at the past. We're all beginners at some point, right? The automotive world is one littered with firsts. Your first car, your first time driving alone, your first meet, your first mod, your first time doing an oil change on your own, your first autocross event, or your first show. Whatever it is, we all had to take that initial first step. Maybe it was a friend, a family member, or a partner who got you into cars. Maybe you grew up playing racing games or playing with Hot Wheels. Maybe you just woke up one day and decided, hey, having life savings is really overrated. No matter what started it for you, the love of cars, trucks, and the automotive hobby as a whole has been a uniting force for decades. I got my first car at 16, and immediately I wanted to learn how to do things with it and to it: maintenance, wheels and tires, an intake or an exhaust, even suspension mods. If you can name a beginner mod, I probably did it or wanted to do it. For me, I grew up loving cars. My dad had been into them since he was a teenager, so I guess in a way you could kind of say it was genetic. I grew up in the Need for Speed and the Fast and Furious era. So, as a kid, I spent a huge amount of time playing with Hot Wheels, getting into games like Gran Turismo 2, then Need for Speed Underground 2, and then moving on to Forza, and then the later Forza Horizon titles as I was moving into late teens and early 20s. Growing up, motorsport seemed so far out of reach for the average person. I had no idea about the existence of grassroots activities like autocross or bracket style drag racing or anything of the like. I just knew about the things that you'd see televised: NASCAR, Formula One, NHRA, Rallycross, that sort of thing. The things that, if you didn't have super deep pockets, you had no chance of ever even attempting to get into. One of the things I did early on as an enthusiast was to get involved with a local car club. It just so happened that there were a few members who were into drag racing, and of course, I decided I wanted to tag along and give it a try. I ended up bracket racing in the street class for a few years, eventually running double duty in both street and sport compact when the local drag strip decided that they wanted to give a sport compact class a try to see how popular it would be. I was even moderately successful at it, winning race weekends, a championship or two, and being runner up for the championship multiple years. But as with many things, eventually I had to step back from it due to life getting in the way. And for myself in motorsports, that's where things just kind of stayed for a few years. Isn't being the new guy at something always a bit nerve wracking? Am I going to screw up? Will I ask a bunch of stupid questions? Will I get lost on course? Am I going to take out 17 cones, make a fool of myself, and get sent home before completing a run? I had wanted to give autocross a try for a few years, but all those questions and the uncertainty that came with them had been holding me back. On a whim, I joined an online meeting for the group that runs the local events, and they seemed very welcoming. From there, I decided I was just going to do it. I wasn't busy the first weekend they had an event, so I didn't have any easy excuses to not go. And to keep myself from backing out, I went out and bought a helmet. They had loaners, but I figured if I had a financial commitment, I'd be more encouraged to stick with my plan. It sounds silly, but it did work. And wouldn't you know it, I had fun. Was I competitive? Maybe. I was at least semi competitive against myself and a couple of other people. And I also remembered that I was a novice and that it's okay to be a novice. I wasn't expected to come in knowing the answer to everything or to be posting the top times of the day. Going into the day, I was starting out with no experience, and it probably showed. When the group went out for an open test and tune style practice in the morning, I started my morning by standing at the sidelines and watching. I wanted to see how the course is run, where to be careful, and how someone with actual experience handled everything. At least, that's what I told myself. In reality, I was probably just nervous. With that said, what I managed to do was learn. I learned about how the course is run, not only as a driver, but also as a course worker. You see, part of every event is also being a volunteer when your group isn't the one running. I also learned about the unique challenges due to the group running on a slightly banked oval short track. From camber issues to tire wear, even things as simple as a three cone slalom now become a series of on and off camber aggressive turns to attempt to navigate quickly. Now feeling ready to give it a try, I pulled into the line and waited. When it was my turn, I gave what I felt was a solid 85% run. 63.995. Okay, not great, but also not the slowest by a good margin. What I lacked in speed, I made up for in confidence gained. The cones were still standing, and I was still right side up. Back into line we go. Now don't forget to breathe. Ready? Time to try harder this run. I had left traction control on for my first run, figuring if I was too far out of my depth, stability control would bring me back in line or flat out save me. For this run, I shut it off. No more help. 59.950. Over 4 seconds faster. That's more like it. Still not at the top of the list, but solidly in the top half at least now. I continued to chip away throughout the day, finally ending up posting a best clean time of 54.105. That's 9.89 seconds faster over the course of the day. That is huge. To say I was now hooked was an understatement. With my first event done, I now had a few important details to iron out before my next one. See, I wasn't exactly class legal. Autocross is broken up into classes to try to level the playing field a bit. I plan to go over this in another video, but basically, my street wheel and tire setup would not meet e-street touring requirements. Since that was the class I would fall under, and since this was now something I was going to be doing, I needed to fix that before the next event. Guess it's time to go shopping for some new shoes. But, as I said, that's the subject of another video. And as good a spot as any to wrap up for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Oh yeah, one last thing. About that hitting 17 cones worry, it was only 3 all day. And I didn't even hit double digits all season. So, bonus points to me there.